Anytime you share life stories with other people, well, you are acknowledging their humanity and kind of accessing some things about yourselves. And the other people start to expect things about themselves. It's kind of like a fellowship that attains to the beauty of life called life with a story. Ladies and gentlemen, and each one of you out there, I welcome you again to a very interesting chat show called the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by the ETH for endless stories of life. My name is Mithun Upadhyay, and I'm joined by someone as interesting as all our guest speakers. Well, who is he? I'm sure you would love to know, and we're brewing the best taste for you. Well, enterprise architect and a chief digital officer at TVS Electronics Limited. Interests include building physical devices with digital experience for productivity and adding value to business and, of course, society. They go hand in hand, right? Now, exploring the possibilities for building digital communities, over 20 years of software development experience, he writes codes even now. And just not that. On personal front, he is healthy, a one who believes in fitness, happy, and an amazing human being. Very delighted to welcome here at the Cutting Chai Stories to share the taste of what we give people. Please welcome Chief Technology Officer, TVS Electronics, Mr. Ravi Peddhibhotla with us right now. Hello and welcome to Cutting Chai. How are you doing?
Doing well, Mithun. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Well, it's great to have you here. And I have so many questions to ask you. But let me ask you about the frame you are sitting on right now, a whiteboard behind you. If you had to write one word on that board to start this entire show, what would you write?
Productivity.
Productivity. Well, exactly. And my question is going to start with productivity. Pandemic or non-pandemic, leaders such as you are often asked as to how they are taking care of the teams, nurturing them, helping them grow. And very seldom are leaders asked as to how they're taking care of themselves. How have you managed over the past 18 months to be productive, to be productive?
Okay. The first few days of the pandemic, I mean, it was definitely an experience for all of us. No question about that. Life-changing impact for many of us, right? So the first 3 days were definitely denial. Is it really happening? Maybe it will fade away. I mean, we did not have the future of, how long this is going to last and all that, right? So as it started to dawn, saying that, there are no adults in the room, it's up to us to kind of, do that. Your own experience, your own learnings come into picture, and that's how you start thinking that what, you will have to start discerning information that you keep acquiring. You say that how do I keep myself engrossed in the kind of work so that you stay out of that negative thought process. You start telling yourself and the society around you, saying that, what, let's continue to focus on what it is. There are definitely very talented scientists out there who know how to kind of get this over us. Let's concentrate on what we do best. And of course, you continue to always help out society in whatever little means. You have your own life, but at the same time, there are so many others who are going through a lot of stuff. In whatever way you could help out, yeah, please do extend your hand. And that's I think how I think we got over the 18 months, staying proactive in terms of the work that you do, in terms of the things that you can help out others, teaching them. You've got a couple of skills. I come with some background in technology engineering. Others come with finance. Some others come with business skills. So you talk and you grow and you build the confidence and you build that network, inspiring each other. And that's how I think we got along.
It's about, as you say, it's about a balance that you've had with people and how submerge together and find a solution. That reminds me of a very nice quote I heard someone say to me while I was in extreme location of Northeast, that the enigma of human being is to be smart at any given point of life. And I think what we have done over the last 18 months is proving that every single day. And because you spoke about, balancing it out, with resource of people from one to another, I'm going to rewind a little. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood or school or later college, maybe, were there any positive influences or incidents that shaped your foundation in those formative years?
The school in itself, right? I mean, that definitely played a lot of, I mean, it had a lot of impact on where you were going. For me specifically, books, reading and books was something that I got introduced at school. I mean, it continues to be my, go-to place for all my, spare time, my individual focus time and stuff like that. So school was definitely one area where, I mean, the I could think of a family as another path, the extended family, extreme competition between the cousins that we were all growing up together with. So that played, I mean, so some of these guys made it into very premier institutes in engineering and all. So yeah, those influences, I mean, the guys of that time, my cousins and all, he would have a very, difficult to comprehend engineering book in his lap and play caroms and hold cards in his hand and still have a conversation with the rest of the family. And you could imagine, I can still recall those as so much, having an impact, saying that how so that multi-skilling is something that I really think, played a lot of role in setting that competitive spirit in itself, getting inspired from each other to learn a thing or two from each other. So that's what I recall.
Ravi, how early in life was this when you saw people, your cousins doing multitasking at the same time while having a conversation? What?
I I was probably in 10th or ninth. I recall, like 10th or ninth, and my cousin was probably, his in his 12th, and he was preparing for the IITs and all that. So that's how he was 3 years senior to me, and that's the conversation that I still remember till date.
Wow, that's very, very interesting to hear from you. Can you name a person who has had a profound impact on you as a leader? It could be anybody, a mentor, or probably a coach, a family member, or cousin for that matter of fact, or a boss.
Like I said, books played a very important role. So the authors themselves would have had a lot of impact on how my thoughts and this thing were there. But if you look from an author's perspective, I would still say that Malcolm Gladwell's and his writings played a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
role, right? And I was definitely somebody. I mean, it changed the complete way in which I started thinking after reading his work and all. But from more, you definitely associate with people, you talk to people, and you have mentors and all. The other person that definitely comes to mind is, my ex-boss at Wipro, Satish Wadhwa. So
Oh,
he's this, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, he was somebody who showed a lot of clarity in his thought. He definitely showed us. I mean, all of us were pretty senior at that time, and to be able to lead a group of people in that way, and to have that kind of skill in himself to resolve the problems, talk to customers, and show that leadership skills. Right? I mean, it's not something that you can express in words. You can see that it's a very abstract concept in itself. So I could see that his way of working and his thoughts and this clarity that he brought. Yeah, I think he definitely had a lot of influence with him.
so good. So books and your ex-boss. So you mentioned books twice already in my couple of questions. So in a year, how many books do you read?
Oh, every weekend at least one book on my yeah. I mean, at least one
Wow.
book. Yeah. I carry the Kindle a lot, both on my on my any connected devices that I have. Right. So there's always something that you keep encountering on the social media. Somebody whom you follow, admire, and all. They keep recommending that they have read that, so you would be inspired to see what is it that that is there. And then once you start reading, you'll understand why they have recommended that. So at least one book, every weekend is something that I try to take time out within.
That's so brilliant, Ravi. Like, I'm just imagining, a month for books. Over the year, you have like so many books that you read. And I like you mentioned, people refer to you and with their perception. And then you read, then you connect to their perception and then build your own perception and then forward it to people to learn or read more about it. I love the thought. That's how even I read the books. If somebody tells me I have the perception, then I read, I make my own perception and then evaluate. Yeah, my friend knows me quite well to understand that. I have this next question, though it's going to come later fast part of the show, but you spoke about Kindle.
Right.
So if you had to choose between books and Kindle, what would you choose and why?
The straight answer would definitely be books, no question about that. But the time it takes to go and procure a book and them not having it, and the time it takes to get it to your hands, right? It's maybe not even be available in India, and
Right.
you get so impatient. I want to read it right now, right now, and that's where Amazon and Kindle have changed that entire equation. So I want it now, dude. So let me get that
It has to
and
be in my hand right now,
yes.
no matter what. And but tell me one thing: audiobooks over books. Do you prefer that as well?
I absolutely love Audible. I mean, that's my favorite digital app that I've seen till today. I mean,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. The concept of putting a bookmark, the way you kind of do, you can go back 15 seconds and, you can replay all that stuff. The kind of features that they rolled out into Audible, yeah, that there's no question.
It's amazing, right? And you actually get the right emotions, the right sentiment of the phrases that they're
Yes.
saying, and that's what makes it even more interesting. So I totally connect to what you're saying, Ravi. Okay, I want to go back a little towards the first job. And do you remember you're receiving your first salary? And what did you do with the first salary? What really happened?
Okay, that's a little interesting because my first job interview, you recall back in 95 when I came out, uh, having computer science engineering and electronics itself was something very difficult to get an offer or even get a call for an interview, and
True.
coming from a civil engineering, I mean, you could just ignore. So
Yeah.
it was just fortunate that I went to this place and they said, come on, let's start talking over. And once I finished, then they said, kya loge bhaiya, what is it that you're asking for? And I said, boss, I'm just happy to kind of, get started in software. If you allow me to start tomorrow, I mean, that's something that I don't mind. We can talk always about that. I first want to learn. And he
Wow.
was so excited, and he called my parents straight away and he said, you know what, who's this guy? And I'm going to give him the first half of the salary right now, right now. I want him to start coming to work straight away. So that's something that, I mean, I actually think he needs to be applauded, right? I mean, saying that, he
Yes.
saw something and he said, you know what, I'm willing to give you that opportunity. And that's how my software career started off, Nitin.
So good to hear you got the salary firsthand, the day one of your work. Even
Yes.
not even day one, before the day one
Yes.
could start.
Yes.
How often do people get that? Now that is a cutting chai story for you. That's what you're telling me about what happens here. So what happened? You got the first half the salary in your hand. What did you do with that?
I, like any other kids, like all of us, as we just go back, take that to our parents, and kind of keep that. They'll encash it. I don't even know how they did all that, but at that point they did that, and as and when you required something, it used to kind of help you out. I mean, all of us going through the regular middle class kind of stuff, it helped a lot in, all the travel and, I mean, you still reading a lot at that time. So I would tell my mom, can I use that to buy something, to continue reading and all that. So it was mostly spent on self-education and, that kind of
That's
stuff.
so wonderful to hear, Ravi. Beautiful. I have another question. What's the best professional advice you have ever received and who gave it to you?
Not directly. Many people have said that, offline. I think I heard it very clearly and started thinking when Satya Nadella said, "What do you look for?" And he said, "Clarity." So he wants to see absolute clarity in what a person is doing. Maybe he's trading the right way, not that's different. But I'd like to see that clarity come in that one. And until then, it never struck me. But when I heard it from him, it was something that, yeah, it's still not directly telling me, but through kind of channels and all, you see, I thought, oh, absolutely, isn't that a very important characteristic? So that stayed back with me a lot.
So good. I like how you mentioned this one point. The advice should not come to you directly. It can also come by any means. But what matters is all your minds, all your energies click to that and say, yes, this was meant for me, and you will receive it. And I like how you mentioned Satya's, indirect message came to you, and the advice came to you. You accepted it, clarity, and that's the way forward towards it. Do you have a moral compass when it comes to the way you lead your life in the professional and personal space?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those principles are, very personal to you. Absolutely, you will have conflicts on some of those with your colleagues that are there. My one of my bosses definitely told me, competitiveness skills are all there, Ravi, but do not forget that your work ethics that you bring to the table stand out, for your entire thing. Where he saw, and I also, keep thinking that it's very personal to me, is uh, in our technology career specifically, you keep moving from one technology to other. You stay in the same job, but you are given the opportunity to move. So you
True.
should be extremely thankful for the organization saying that, what, I don't have experience in that, but they're willing to let you continue in that one. So I don't think the organization is responsible for training you. You're putting that learning for yourself and you're growing personally. So the trainings and all that, hey guys, you are learning it for your own self. It's going
True.
into your profile first. So grow and learn it for yourself. So my entire list of colleagues that I work with, or with people that I work with, I always tell them, guys, it's up to us to keep learning. Don't expect anybody else to actually sponsor your learning. That's not going to happen. So
Absolutely.
that's
I
something from my.
like I like how you mentioned it's for you. End of the day, you need to receive it if you want to receive it. Uh, one song that describes your journey, Ravi.
Oh, the one from Three Idiots where the guy says, "Give me another chance to grow up once again."
Wow, give
Yeah,
me another
another.
chance to grow up once again. I love that choice. I love the thought. Before I go to the next round, I have to ask this question to you again. I started with the first question, Ravi, that you have a whiteboard, and what would you write on that board? You said productivity. Now that we're ending this first segment of conversation we have spoke to you about, how was session? If you were to now change the word from the board and write another word, what would you write now?
I would probably go with
I've got you thinking, Ravi. That's beautiful.
yes, it is right. I mean, I'm just looking for the apt word to help us kind of come to that together. So you are indirectly influencing me in all the aspects. So look at the energy level that you bring in, Vin. So I think the word that I see right now on flash front of me is energy that is coming out of you, Mithun. So I think the word I would. So that's the word.
Productivity energized,
Yes.
right? Now that's the combination we're looking at. Okay, the next segment is called this or that, where you choose one option out of the two I give you, and that's about it. Very simple. But we get to know more about you this way. So let's start this. Chennai or Madras?
Chennai,
Andhra meals or Chettinad meals?
Andhra,
Mahesh Babu or Surya?
Mahesh Babu,
Loving or being loved?
being loved.
Reading or listening?
Reading.
Science or history?
Oh, history.
A date on a day or date night?
Date night.
Absolutely. Bahubali or DDLJ?
Bahubali.
Intelligent or funny?
Funny.
Yoga or gym?
Jim.
Rich and famous or rich and unknown?
Rich and famous.
I like that one. Holiday with phone or without phone?
With phone. It's okay.
Healthy food or tasty food?
Healthy food. Healthy food.
Hang out with friends or a weekend alone?
Tough one. Weekend alone.
That's a good one. Poems or story?
Story.
Cutting chai or cutting chai with Mithun?
Cutting chai with Mithun.
That has been very, very interesting, Ravi. Thank you so much for joining us here. Indeed, so much about your life. What we understood is you are a man who believes in clarity of life. You're the man who says, don't stop learning. You're the man who's teaching the world a simple way to live your day every day, read more, learn more, and enhance your life. The story is a piece of work. The novel is a way of life, and such is Mr. Ravi. Thank you so much for joining us here. This is Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, brought to you by 88. My name is Mithun Upadhyay. I will catch you in the next episode with much more conversation and brew some great conversation, just like Mr. Ravi. But for now, smile, stay safe, stay healthy.